We are back on WUSB with Trapper Shep. You're listening to Country Pocket, and you're listening to the new album Osborne. Osborne is a name you got out of your rehab center, and the song you just heard was Tomorrow's for Quittin'. Um, Talk to me a little bit about the process of getting clean.
hmm Well, for me, it kind of came in a couple different waves. I kind of white knuckled through uh, getting off painkillers, and it was absolute, hell. That was in 2019, and then during the pandemic, I spent a good chunk of that fairly sober. And I don't want to name substances um, right now, but I kind of came back into some other substances that I thought were not as addictive and ended up being just as much of an issue for me. And eventually I kind of went mad and I ended up at the Hazelton Betty Ford Clinic in Minnesota where you kind of address the whole person. Um, so everything you've been through as a person relating to addiction. And I ended up in the Osborne unit, which is, funny because on the way there, I texted a friend. I said, man, if Ozzy can do it, I can do it. Because I just found out on the way there that um, Ozzy Osbourne had also went to Hazleton. So I was like, whoa. So that was kind of funny in a way to be placed in that unit at least. And when we were naming the album, the producer, Mike Viola, I'd come up with these few titles and he he was like, what is the album really about? And I had this piece of artwork there that said Osborne from the facility. And he said, that's the name. And he just pointed to this piece of artwork. And I thought that was pretty sweet. So we went with that.
So, so what's the feeling of realizing realizing that there is a problem, realizing that there does need to be a change, but not necessarily being at a point yet where you can actually shake it?
hmm Like that song Tomorrow's for Quittin' that you played,
Hmm.
where you kind of realize it, but you don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
I guess that's just denial, you know. I think a lot of people live with that. Uh, Not just an addiction, but anything else. It's kind of just easier to not deal with something, right? And just move on. But I guess the brave thing is to go head on into the storm and say, I'm going to work on this and it's going to be hard, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to give it a go. Um, so yeah, recovery is not this like linear thing. I think there's this narrative that, you know, you just, you work your steps and you do this XYZ and everything's better. But you know, that's not the way it goes. It's like this, it's more of, you know, some days it's one step forward, two steps back, and sometimes it's two steps forward, one step back. So you just do your best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The I know from watching people that it's not easy and not consistent. But um, I know we don't have a visual on the air, but you're sitting near a field of sunflowers, wearing
Hmm.
a nice sun hat. Looks a lot warmer there than it is over here in Wales with me.
Hmm.
So, how do you get from the place you were in to the place you're in right now?
Mm. Time, time. That's all, you know. Time. I don't think that necessarily you have to follow XYZ steps in recovery and do this or do that to feel better. I think you need to follow your nose and follow your heart, as cheesy as that sounds. Um, and just do, like I said before, just kind of do the best you can and don't be so hard on yourself. Because I think that's a big thing too in recovery is, you know, you go in trying to fix everything and you get sort of, uh, you know, this analysis paralysis where you're trying to fix everything at once. I think sometimes it's easier to just focus on the smaller things and fix those and don't be so obsessed with, correcting the course 100%. There's just little things you can do to get through the day, you know.
Yeah, are you are you happy now? Are you happy where you're at?
That's a big question, you know. I don't I don't know if I think in terms of that, happy or unhappy, but I think it will take time to continue to grow as a person. And I think that's where I'm at. I'm a work in progress and I can speak my truth in that sense, you know, just that I'm a work in progress, perpetual, you know.
Yeah, sort of one of those last lines on the album you close off with is I just want to live.
Hmm.
Uh now seems like theoretically it wouldn't be as much of an uphill battle as it can be sometimes.
Hmm.
But yeah, man, I'm happy to I'm happy to see you where you're at because there was quite a bit of tumult on that album, and
Hmm.
the image I'm looking at right now looks like all that might be at least for now sitting on the back burner.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Well, I'd like to close the show the way I always do. I ask my guests to pick a song. The only rule is that they cannot have had anything to do with the creation of that song.
Hmm.
Um, so for you for this conversation, let's you know what? I know this is a folk music show, but we're gonna go a little wild here. Let's do some Ozzy.
Okay, yeah, Changes by Black Sabbath, Volume 4.
100% my favorite Ozzy Osbourne song. Perfectly chosen, my friend.
Perfect.
Trapper Ship, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate you, Trevor.